So yesterday I showed you guys a motorcycle mount. How I'm going to mount my phone. Um, and what I have on here now is this is bomber. It's not coming loose. You have to actually push this trigger in for it to release, which is pretty cool. I bought one of these wireless charger. I finally got it to work. It's not quite as bomber as I thought it'd be. Also, it gets hot. It doesn't charge very quickly. So I'm gonna put this in storage for now. I mean, it's one of those things you use when it's winter time or when it's cold. I mean, things are warming up now, so not beneficial. I've played with wireless chargers before, and they all get hot. Like I said, this what I'm using now. It's an X mount that it'll clamp onto a bar or something. I got it clamped onto my night shelf here. And then you got this little trigger right here. It actually, when you put it on there, it actually clicks, which is pretty cool. I've talked about in the past in another video about how nothing will be done about climate change. Nothing will be done about these things in time. That they're just not going to happen. That unfortunately I don't see any positive stuff out of it, and how for you to do something about climate change, you have to have some type of regional government or world government, some type of world government structure that we don't have, and they're not even trying to start. When I was younger, and I watched Alex Jones and stuff like that, he talked about the New World Order and all that. Um, I I I believed that I did, but my biggest thing back then was pollution, and I believed in the endocrine disruptors. I believed that stuff was depopulation, and now I realize it's not. It's just capitalism. They don't care. It isn't about let's kill people. It's we don't. They don't care. You have to. It's like dealing with police officers that write false tickets and stuff. They're not doing it just to be. They don't care. They don't care if it hurts your life. They don't care if it makes your insurance go up. It isn't all racism. It isn't everything. Listen, you don't need conspiracy theory when everybody thinks the same. Everybody isn't always trying to get you. Some people just don't care. They don't care about how certain things ruin your life. Okay? It's not all, ooh, they're out to get me. Now, I talked about how we're not moving towards the next stuff. I talked about how Trump was 4 years wasted, and how now the world is much more up armored. There's been a rise of fascism and a rise of strongmen across the board internationally. That I think some of the things Trump did, I don't think we'll get back for a very long time. Certain goodwill and things of that nature, I don't think we'll get those back anytime soon. Now, I've talked in the past about how there's a moral value that if you believe in climate change, you don't believe in God. That if you believe climate change is real, you're not putting your faith in God, so you're basically like you're a heretic, you're a heathen or whatever. I've talked about that before. That's very big in the South. Very big in the South. And I talked about how the next step for Christianity, evangelical Christians, is they're gonna say yes, climate change is real. It's real. The science is real. We can't argue with it now. It's real, but we're in the end times, so it is what it is. I've told you guys that, and there was a minister out there that came out and said that yes, um, this is Earth is a disposable planet. That's what he said. Basically, everything that I said he would say, he said. Didn't surprise me. I think that I missed something that I should have added before. When Katrina happened back in '03, I was in high school. From high school when it happened, and I remember it's in a Christian school, Black Christian, Victory Christian. I remember a teacher actually telling us that this was God's punishment for sin because New Orleans has all that sin and stuff, homosexuality and things like that. And I remember even then kind of thinking that this isn't right. And I think like one time I was like, told one teacher, I was like, I'm confused, I don't understand this. And dude was like, yeah, I'm sure you are confused. I want to be clear before I go any further that in my life, some of the worst homophobic stuff I've seen and heard has been from other blacks. I've never heard a redneck just come out with a racial, with a homophobic. So I've never heard that. I'm not saying if a white man got mad enough, he wouldn't, but I've never seen, heard, been told of a white man, a redneck, just out the blue saying like these faggots. I've never heard that before, ever. I don't know why that is. I don't know if they're just smarter. Hey, never heard that, but I've heard plenty of black and Hispanic men on construction sites and work for HD, calling folks sissies and faggots and plenty. That's why I always make the point that when people say you're black or you're a certain race before you are on the left, that's bullshit. Because there's plenty of people that are black that are very conservative. Very conservative. That's a fact. It's a fact, Jack. And, you can be black. What about Candace Owens? And we stay on subject. The fact that people believe that these storms, these strong, heavy storms that kill a lot of people, have to do with God cursing the areas, that also speaks to, once again, this fanaticism of the Christian right. It does. It's because we're trying to avert more carnage, and they are basically saying that these people deserve to die. You understand? They deserve to die. Yeah, I mean, so this stuff it just shows you that even back in the day, you had people who are like, yeah, we should have fire and brimstone, a bunch of people we don't know or understand. I'm sorry when they talk about like they want to take over and make like do things, change the social order of America and stuff. Understand something. These are very angry, vicious people, and they hide that viciousness in religion. Oh yeah, they do. But it's there. And trust me, I grew up going to Christian school. I know this. This is a fact. You're talking about some very vicious, angry, nasty, sneaky people who they can throw that Bible at you, but it's a deep hatred. Deep hatred. I mean, I've talked about how when the pandemic first started, hearing about people say that they hope COVID would kill a bunch of people in California so they could take the state back. I talked about how I read one guy said that before the end of the pandemic, we'd have universal health care, which they're telling you two big things about the right, that A, they recognize certain parts of the country they'll never be able to win back, ever. Doesn't matter what'll happen. And B, that you were never going to handle COVID by, we don't have to wear masks. We don't have to take the vaccine. Like, that was never going to work. That, like, you looking back at March, like, Trump, the things he said, like, I don't understand it. Like, wasted 3 months. When he finally did act, like, you just thought this thing would end, and you just, go back to your lives. Like, what Trump did at every juncture, at every avenue, was to weaken the civil authorities from, taking head on this pandemic, and basically, kind of like being the fun aunt, the fun uncle. We didn't need a fun uncle. We needed a president. A fun uncle is like, you have the parents, but then you have the fun uncle that takes the kids to the arcade. We used to have, we don't have arcades now, but we used to take them to the, like my uncle take me put golfing with his son. We go to the arcade. Things like that. Just little things, and it's not even that long. Just maybe a couple hours on the weekend or something. That's what I'm referring to, and they don't. We don't need that. Trump calls him a cheerleader. We didn't need that. We needed a president. We never had one. We had a cheerleader for 4 years. We had a nut. Anyway, I just think that you've got a section of America that A doesn't believe in science, and for the ones that do, B think that we have to have an antichrist, we have to have doomsday, and that they want all the gays and all the people who are socialists, communists, whatever, to just die in fire and brimstone, and that Jesus is going to rapture everybody up, and that all the socialists and communists are going to follow this one world government, and they're going to they're going to die. Like, the people think this. I'm not serious. I'm not bullshitting. People actually think this way, and you come to an understanding with climate change research that you can't reason with these people. It's like I talked to a couple friends of mine about this conspiracy theory about being fake snow. The snow is fake, and there's metals in the snow, and they can't melt the snow, and they put a lighter up to the snow doesn't immediately melt. This is crushed snow. This is crushed snow that's been packed together, and this is fifth grade science, guys. That look, I talked about this before. How even if you were to try to sound explain this stuff to somebody about how it's not fake, they would just laugh at you, because the conspiracy theories are really done in bad faith. Like, this is what the Republican Party is now. It's the party of bad faith. Like, I want to learn the cure to HIV/AIDS. I want to have the cure to cancer. I want to have the cure to tuberculosis, all of the strains. I want to have the cure to COVID. I want us to find these things for the good of all humanity. There's a guy, Salk. I think he came up with the first vaccine, or the vaccine for polio, I think. And he talked about not monetizing it. They were like, why not? He was like, he was just doing it to help people. He didn't want to make money. That's how I am. And I've just come to understand that with these right wingers, these Christians, they don't think that way. They're mean spirited people, and they use conspiracy theories to back up what they already believe. So even if you were to even if I was to bring Bill, even if I was supposed to bring Bill Nye down to Texas and show everybody how that's not true, they would just laugh and go on to the next conspiracy theory, because they're not doing these things out of good faith. Like, I have questions, like, how does gravity work? There's certain things that are true. Certain things are veritas. Gravity. Heavy objects fall to the center of the earth. Rocks are hard. Water is wet. There are certain facts of our existence, and for them, they use conspiracy theories to just like, we don't trust anything. That's it. That's what that is. Can't reason with those kind of people, and I unfortunately don't see a positive outcome to that. You're never going to wake those people up. You're never going to get those people to see your side of it, and you're never going to get. It's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. They're never going to see your side of the picture, because their very ideology demands them not understanding. Their very ideology is dependent upon that. It's dependent upon them being ignorant. is dependent upon them, being detached from reality. And it's all about these people deserve mistreatment. That's something else I learned too. Like they really, with everything they do, they've got to have that these people deserve to be mistreated, to be humiliated, that they're bad. These are bad people, whether they're gay or whatever they are, they're bad people. And so it's deserved. Thank you for listening.